know you saw the title and the thumbnail of this video, and you're probably thinking, why did I make a video on the Leviathan of all bosses in the game? And that's because the boss fight is very satisfying. There's a lot of mixed opinions on this boss, and honestly, it makes sense. Some people think that it's a filler boss, some think that it's clunky, and some people really like the boss fight. But in my personal opinion, I think that the Leviathan boss fight is satisfying, and I'll explain why. If you don't know about the Leviathan in ULTRAKILL, it is the supreme demon final boss of the Wrath layer in 5-4, and it makes its debut in 5-3 Ship of Fools, as it's also the creature who's responsible for sinking the ship you're in. For its appearance, it is a large colossal sea serpent with sculptured rock faces across its entire body, and its head is covered with stone, making the head unable to take damage. It also has a red blob on its head, which is supposed to be the heart, but more on that later. The Leviathan has 200 health in harmless, lenient, standard, and violent difficulty, but has a whopping 320 health in brutal difficulty. The Leviathan has 3 attacks, the first attack being a lunge towards V1, telegraphed by a blue flash, which means it's unparryable, but for some reason it's parryable, which is kinda weird. And then the second attack being a vomit of hell orbs towards the player, which can be parried. And the third and last attack being a tail whip that can change heights. The boss also has 2 phases as well. Once the Leviathan is at half health, he or she, I don't know its gender, will be able to tail whip while also being able to lunge or vomit orbs at the player. The boss also takes extra damage from shotgun parries, which is pretty nice. I'm already done explaining what the boss does, so why am I making an entire video explaining why the Leviathan is the most satisfying boss in the game? Well, one reason being that the heart on top of its head takes 300% damage. This might be a ridiculous reason for me to think that the Leviathan is the most satisfying boss in the game, but hear me out. Damaging the heart on top of the Leviathan is very satisfying and fun. The fact that all your damage are basically critical hits if you hit the heart makes this fight so satisfying if you're attacking it. For example, let's take the pump charge jackhammer, which can deal 17 damage, assuming that you are going at max speed and that it has been pumped 3 times. If you hit the heart of the Leviathan with this attack, it will deal 51 damage to the Leviathan, which is a quarter of its health gone from just one attack. And that shit is just so fun to pull off. You can even have lightning strike on the heart to take out a third of its health from just attaching magnets to it. Seeing some huge colossal creature lose all of its health from hitting a tiny weak point feels so rewarding, and it's a dopamine rush. Not only that, but there's even a bug in the game where you can parry the lunge for some reason, even though it isn't supposed to be parryable, but it can also be fun to pull off when you manage to parry it. From what I said so far, it sounds like the Leviathan is very cheesable, but guess what? There's another way to cheese it even harder. When firing an explosive at the Leviathan's mouth while it's vomiting out orbs, the explosion will reflect all of the hell orbs back at the Leviathan, which does an insane amount of damage to it. Like, just look at the core eject jackhammer. A hit scan core to the mouth of the Leviathan while it's vomiting out its orbs can take out almost a third of its total health. You can even do this with the sharpshooter, the cannonball, the malicious rail cannon, and the overpump explosion. Hell, if you constantly fire rockets and projectile boosts towards the mouth of the Leviathan while it's vomiting out orbs, it deals just as much damage, which honestly, all these explosions shouldn't even deal this much damage because the boss should be an intimidating colossal sea serpent with 200 health, but it can easily be destroyed from its own hell orbs from firing explosives at its mouth while it's vomiting. But hey, it's hella satisfying. I have to be completely honest, the only reason why this boss is so satisfying is because it's kind of a pushover that's fun to kill. There's so many ways to destroy this boss in a short period of time, whether it's to completely destroy the heart of the boss, or to spam explosions in its mouth while it's vomiting orbs. It might be a really cool boss when fighting the boss for the first time, but once you know its weaknesses, it becomes a joke, really. That doesn't mean the boss is bad though. I still think it's pretty fun, and though it's one of the easiest bosses to cheese in the game, it still fits the theme of an intimidating, colossal boss. This definitely isn't one of my more serious videos, since I kinda just talked about how the Leviathan is very easy to cheese, but I still wanted to talk about this boss because opinions on the Leviathan are very mixed. But in my honest opinion, the boss is a pushover and it's cheesable, but it's still fun. So that's basically it about the Leviathan. See ya.